Since the dawn of the NFL, it was always thought of as the ultimate team sport, where running the ball and having an elite defense was paramount. But this started to change in the mid to late 2000s. A few main things happened. First, we've seen a huge uptick in the passing rate for teams, and this in turn put the elite franchise QB in a spot where he could have a completely outsized impact on each game. So from the mid 2000s to the mid 2010s, we had 4 QBs who stood above the rest and were not only winners, with each taking home a Super Bowl, but they rewrote the record books and changed the ceiling we put on the impact a QB can have on team success and how much cultural impact they can have. Now I'm recreating the 4 offenses for these QBs in Madden 24, and each one of these will be getting their own in-depth breakdown video, but they will be all run out of the LA Chargers playbook. So even though they are distinct schemes, they are all meant to be combined into one giant unstoppable offense, and I'm calling it the Mount Rushmore Offense. Peyton Manning's offense with the Colts was a masterclass in precision and pre-snap control. Manning's signature approach was rooted in the extensive use of audibles and adjustments at the line of scrimmage. This allowed him to exploit defensive weaknesses after the snap and consistently put his team in the best spot to shred defenses. He excelled in a timing-based passing scheme, and Manning's offense with the Colts was primarily run out of either shotgun or single back looks with 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 1 running back. Then out of these looks, they could also run the ball, utilizing a ton of zone block run plays where the running back would put his foot in the ground and explode upfield as soon as he seen the hole. Manning played for the Colts from 1998 to 2010, but we are really going to zero in on his run from the mid 2000s to 2010. And over this stretch, he won an incredible 4 MVPs in 8 seasons and really changed how the quarterback position was played with his incredible cerebral approach. And he put the cherry on top of his Colts run with his Super Bowl victory in 2006. Tom Brady's offensive prowess with the Patriots was characterized by his adaptability and a methodical dissection of defenses. The offense often operated with a quick, short passing game, focusing on horizontal stretching of the defense and exploiting mismatches. Brady's skill in reading defenses pre-snap and making rapid progressions post-snap was unparalleled. The Patriots offense under Brady was versatile, capable of switching from a spread offense to more tight end focused under center systems as well. This flexibility allowed them to adjust their game plan based on their opponent's weakness, with Brady's precision passing leading the charge. Brady played for the Pats for 20 seasons, and we'll be trying to utilize different elements from each of his eras in our scheme, and no player was able to shift how he played the QB's position more than Brady over his run, and he put together the greatest QB run of all time, winning 3 MVPs and capturing an incredible 6 Super Bowl titles. Drew Brees' tenure with the Saints featured one of the most dynamic and prolific passing offenses in NFL history. Brees' offense was characterized by its diversity and utilization of the entire field. He was known for his exceptional accuracy and quick release, which allowed the Saints to execute a high volume passing game effectively. The offense often used multiple receiver sets, spreading the defense and creating favorable matchups, but also could get under center and heavier looks and use the power run game to blow defenses off the ball and pick up some big yardage. Brees excelled in a system that emphasized short to intermediate routes with significant focus on timing and rhythm in the passing game, and his chemistry with his play caller Sean Payton is one of the best we have ever seen. Brees played for the Saints from 06 to 2020, but we'll be looking at his run from 06 to the mid 2010s, and over this time he was one of the most prolific passers of the football we have ever seen, and he passed for over 5,000 yards 4 times and was able to bring New Orleans their first Super Bowl win in 2010. Aaron Rodgers' offense with the Packers combined his remarkable arm strength and mobility to create an explosive and unpredictable passing game. Rodgers was adept at extending plays and making accurate throws outside the pocket, often turning broken plays into big gains. The Packers' offense under Rodgers frequently used vertical passing concepts, taking advantage of his ability to make deep, accurate throws. Additionally, Rodgers' skill in the play-action pass and his ability to throw on the run added another layer of complexity to the Packers' offense, making it one of the most feared in the league over his tenure in Green Bay. Now, his time as a starter for the Packers ran from 08 till 2022, and over this time, he won 4 MVPs. And for our scheme, we'll be looking at his run from 08 to the mid 2010s, and here's when he established himself as quite possibly the most physically gifted QB QB the NFL had ever seen to that point, and he was able to bring a Super Bowl trophy to Green Bay in 2011. Now in this area, we're going to be looking at some key principles that are going to tie all these schemes together, and once we nail all this down is really going to allow us to combine them at the end and make one giant unstoppable offense. Now the first principle we're looking at is masterful pre-snap reads and adjustments. This principle highlights these quarterbacks' exceptional ability to analyze and adjust to defenses before the snap. Manning and Brady in particular were known for their intelligence in recognizing defensive schemes and shifting plays or protection at the line. This strategic foresight often led to exploiting defensive vulnerabilities and making crucial plays, and we are going to be putting a premium on being able to recognize coverages pre-snap and making sure we have great answers to whatever the defense throws our way. The next thing we're going to be looking at is a diverse and highly efficient passing attack. We are going to be putting a huge emphasis on this, and this principle reflects how each quarterback utilized a mix of short, intermediate, and deep throws to dismantle defenses. All four of our QBs were precise passers who had the ability to spread the ball out to multiple targets, and throughout all these elite QBs' times in their schemes, they were often in high volume passing attacks. So in our Madden offense, we'll be focusing on throwing the ball early and often, and this is going to put a ton of pressure on the defense because we are going to attack each level of the field. Our third principle is going to be an effective play action pass game and these quarterbacks' elite pocket presence. This principle focuses on the quarterback's use of play action and their presence in the pocket. So to start with each offense, we're going to have some really solid run game elements that we can use to establish the run, but then off of that, we can unleash the play action pass game where we can pull defenders down to stop the run, and then we're going to hit really big plays in behind them. Then getting into pocket presence and movement, this is where Rodgers was known for his mobility and ability to escape the pocket and make off-schedule throws, whereas Manning, Brady, and Brees excelled with their subtle pocket movements where they could slide around to avoid pressure before launching the ball for big plays down the field. Then our fourth principle is going to be maximizing the potential of our offensive playmakers. Now, each one of these QBs really excelled in this aspect. They were able to leverage the unique skills of their supporting cast, whether it was utilizing a dynamic running back in the pass game, involving tight ends on big third downs or in the red zone, or connecting with receivers on perfectly timed routes underneath, or even using their big play threats on the outside to bomb you deep over the top. These quarterbacks were adept at maximizing their offensive weapon strength to their full potential. Then whenever these QBs had a dynamic, game-changing weapon, they were able to scheme the ball to these players, and we are going to do the same in our scheme, making sure our most explosive playmakers are always getting a ton of touches. Then if you want a head start on this offense, I have the first part of it up on my website, Scheme Kings, right now. In total, it's going to be 7 plays out of the formations pistol ace and pistol double stack, and this offense is incredible, with the double stack being one of the most unique offenses you will use all year, with some incredible ways to beat man coverage and some great plays to push the ball deep for zone. Then pistol ace has some great runs that you can get super explosive with, but then it also has a crazy cover 3 bomb you can use for walk-in one-play touchdowns. Then there will be a ton of extra videos coming up for this Mount Rushmore offense on the site as well. Then also on the site, you can find my 3 full schemes that are out so far for Madden 24, with my NFL spread offensive scheme, my Georgia Bulldogs match-based defense, and my wide zone offense. Then also on the site, you can get access to my playbooks, which are full written breakdowns for my schemes, and I have 9 out so far, with my newest being my wide zone offense that is 66 pages long, and you can use it to take your game to the next level. Then starting today, we have a sale on the site. Use code Rushmore at checkout for 50% off your first month, and this will be run until February 12th. If you want to check out Scheme Kings, it will be linked down in the description below. Now, getting into the personnel we will use for this offense. Now, each scheme we release will be unique and have some different elements, but for the most part, the players we will use will overlap, so you want to target players that fit these roles. So to start it all off, we want to nail down the QB position. Now, all 4 of our QBs that we will be basing this offense around were elite pocket passers who could sit back and throw absolute lasers all over the field, but they all also had big enough arms where when they had solo coverage down the field, they could let it fly for some big plays. Then they also had elite feet to move around in the pocket and to deliver the ball on target. But then Rodgers was a little bit different than the other 3. He had the ability to escape from trouble and buy time game with his legs and deliver some huge plays down the field. But then he could also even just use his legs for straight up scrambles where he could pick up big yards on the ground, and we want to make sure our QB can do the same. So in this spot, I'm using the Andrew Luck Ghost of Mutt card, and he's a great fit for this scheme, and he can do all the things we need from our QB. Now, the main ability I am using on my quarterback is going to be Hot Route Master. This allows us to have the ultimate freedom on offense and gives us access to so many more hot routes. So you don't need to use it for this scheme, but there will be certain plays where I will be utilizing it throughout. For the running back position in this offense, we want a complete back who can do it all, but is going to lean more toward speed and agility than power. Our back needs to be able to see the hole and put his foot in the ground and explode through the openings, and he needs the speed to break away from defenders for explosive pickups. I will also be featuring a ton of passes to the running back in this offense, so having really good hands is a bonus. The standout in this role has been Edgerrin James for the Colts, who is great in their zone run game and was a great safety blanket for Peyton Manning. And then also Alvin Kamara with the Saints, who is there near the end of Brees' run, and he is definitely a ton of skills we want to bring to the table with our running back. So at my running back in this offense, I'm using the Christian McCaffrey Team of the Week card in this spot. For our number one wide receiver, we want an outside the numbers big time playmaker who we can use to really push the ball down the field and create some big plays. We're focusing on big time speed and deep play capability, and we need him to have that speed so he can get in behind defenses for big pickups. Size can be an added bonus, so we can use him on jump balls, and he can go make plays on those 50-50 balls we throw up, and then this will allow him to be a really good target in the red zone. The receiver who we are basing this role off of is Randy Moss during his time with the Pats, where he was one of the scariest big play threats of all time. Then also Marcus Colston, who during his time with the Saints had an incredible chemistry with Drew Brees and had some monster seasons. Now in this spot, I'm using the Randy Moss Legends card, and the majority of the time this player will be playing on the outside for me. For our second wide receiver, we're focusing on an all-around playmaker who has the speed to get downfield and make some big plays. We also want this player to be a technician who can use his route running to beat man coverage, but then he's also going to be our gadget player and will be our main target, and he needs to be dynamic with the ball in his hands. The receiver who we're basing this role off of is Marvin Harrison, and when he was teamed up with Peyton Manning, they were one of the most unstoppable and consistent duos the NFL has ever seen. And another player in this role was Greg Jennings when he was with the Packers, and he had tremendous speed to get down the field and make some big plays when paired with Rodgers' cannon arm. I've chosen the Mark Clayton Legend card for this role, and he will be usually lined up on the outside in our formations. For our number 3 receiver, we're looking for a classic slot receiver. We need a great route runner who can get in and out of his breaks and will be our go-to weapon over the middle of the field, and he needs to be able to shred man coverage, and he's going to be our go-to player versus these looks. The receivers who are basing this role off of are Wes Welker and Julian Edelman during their time with the Pats. They were the original modern slot receivers and really helped pioneer the position with their incredible quickness and were some of Brady's all-time favorite weapons. Here I'm using the Stephon Gilmore out of position card for this role, and he's going to be usually lined up in the slot, and I have the ability short in a lead on him, and this allows him to get extra separation when running routes short of 10 yards against man coverage, making it much easier to gain yards versus man. In this scheme, the tight end is one of the key players to make the whole thing work. We need a balanced tight end who can attack underneath on crucial downs and be a go-to option on third downs. He needs to make some big plays down the field, and then he also needs to be a willing blocker able to spring our run game. Then the tight end who is the perfect player for this offense was Dallas Clark with the Colts, who was a great third down possession type player who had amazing chemistry with Peyton. Then we also could look at Jermichael Finley, who is an incredible athlete and field stretcher at the position when he played with Aaron Rodgers. For the tight end in this role, I'm using the Shannon Sharp Zero Chill card, and on him I have the ability Matchup Nightmare. This allows you to get great separation versus man coverage when playing versus a linebacker, and this can help you get big gains versus man defensive coverages. Here's a look at my full lineup that I use for this offense, and here are all the abilities. You can pause it right here if you want to take a closer look. Now, once you get your hands on this full scheme, you're going to be unstoppable, but remember, there's the first part for this offense up on Scheme Kings right now. But to be a complete Madden player, you also need to get stops on defense. So to start dominating on that side of the ball, check out my full Georgia Bulldogs defensive match coverage based scheme right here.